Welcome back. Today we are going to talk about this knife here. But before we can talk about this, I have a question for you. I got a comment on a video I did a while back. Who uses their pocket knife to make a sandwich? Well, I do. That's my question to you guys. Do you use your pocket knife, your EDC knife, or your other knives that you carry? Do you use them to make a sandwich? Leave me a comment, let me know. Now, let's talk about this thing. This is the Warrior Poet Society Fox Folder. As I do when I review something, I will give you an overview. I'll give you some idea of what I've been using this for, and then I will give you my pros and cons. The Fox Folder is obviously a folding knife, and this is designed or intended to be a folding tactical self-defense, but also EDC kind of knife. It is an assisted open. There's no thumb stud on the blade, but if you press the flipper or the ring on the back, it is an assisted open. The blade will snap open. When the knife is open, it's got this curved kind of forward angle, and that is intended to hold in your hand and use in sort of a boxing or pushing motion in a self-defense situation. The blade on the knife is 3 1/4 inches long. The handle is 4 1/2 inches long when the knife is closed. The blade is made of a high carbon stainless steel coated with a ceramic coating. It has stainless steel liners, G10 scales. Because this is a WPS knife, it's got the WPS logo on the blade and also engraved into the handle scales on both sides. This button on the handle is the the unlock to close the blade. This is a liner lock in here. So what this button does is essentially push the liner lock out of the way so that the knife can close. On this side, there is a little switch. This is a lock. It doesn't lock the blade closed, but when the blade is open, you can switch that and that will lock it open so you can't close it. The handle has these nice finger grooves on here. They're quite comfortable to hold. It's a really large ring for the finger to go in. The blade has sort of a tanto shape, a little bit of a recurve shape in this portion of the blade. Very angular blade shape, lots of angles and very pointy. These knives are made in Italy. Price on this knife is $169.99. So I bought this knife a couple of months ago as part of a Father's Day sale. I got this because it's different, it's kind of unique. It reminds me a lot of the K-Bar TDI, which I really like. The TDI knives has that forward curve holding in your hand for that sort of pushing motion and self-defense use. And it's a folder, which just sort of makes it different. So for the past couple of months, I have carried this knife not a whole lot, off and on. I've used it for EDC things. Obviously, I have not used it for any self-defense or tactical needs, fortunately. But I have carried it in my pocket, and I've used it for some of my EDC tasks, things that I would normally use a knife for. So now let me get to the pros and cons. I always like to do the pros first. This is a really cool knife. It's definitely got that tacticool thing going for it. It looks awesome, snaps open, very satisfying, really comfortable to hold in your hand, and I think it's a very effective self-defense, tactical kind of knife. Holding this in your hand, that sort of pushing motion, very, very useful, very effective in that type of use. This is a really solid knife. I have no complaints about construction. It came really sharp. The packaging is very nice. It did come in a little case, which I don't have because I'm not at home. It is a very well-made knife. No issues there, no complaints about construction, really solid. I have no doubt that this knife will hold up to any tasks that I put it through. I do have some cons though. One issue I have with this knife is with the handle scales. They are really nice. They're really grippy. Great for holding the knife, but they are terrible for putting it in your pocket. They are so grippy that it is almost impossible to slide this into your pocket. It makes it really hard to slip the knife out of your pocket. That's kind of a con for a knife that's intended to be carried in your pocket. It's really hard to get it in and out of your pocket. When it comes to a self-defense / EDC knife, this is definitely geared more towards self-defense, and it's not really geared much in that EDC use at all. You can use this for some other tasks. I've used it for opening boxes, cutting up food. I've used it for just everything I've needed to use a knife for on the days that I was carrying this. But it's certainly not as easy to use as a regular pocket knife. That ring makes it difficult to switch your grip around. You can do all of the regular pocket knife things, but it won't do any of them as well. It also is not going to work as well as a self-defense knife as some sort of fixed blade knife would. Being a folder, this is going to be a lot slower to deploy, to get out of your pocket and to open than carrying any type of fixed blade knife would. So in the time it takes to get this out of your pocket, snap it open, flip the knife around and get your finger into the ring and get a good grip on this, you could have already had a fixed blade knife out and ready to go. Now there, you could practice, you can get much faster, definitely would help, but it's slower than other options for a self-defense knife, and it's not as useful as other options for an EDC knife. So it sits in this middle spot where it's not really the best of either of those worlds. I think the design was meant for places where perhaps you can't carry a fixed blade knife, and there are certainly states where knife laws are that way. Every state and every place has different knife laws, and some of them get pretty weird. Those are just my thoughts about this and where I kind of feel about this knife. You guys let me know what you think. Let me know your opinion on a folding tactical knife or a folding self-defense knife versus a fixed blade. Let me know if there's laws where you live where you could carry this, but you couldn't carry something like the K-bar TDI or clinch pick or some other type of fixed blade knife like that. Give me your thoughts, give me your opinions, leave me a comment. I appreciate you all, and I will see you next time.